A raucous, over-the-top tribute to Japanese TV shows like Kamen Rider and Power Rangers, The Wonderful 101 stars a team of Earth defense superheroes who not only rescue the denizens of Earth, but absorb them into a superpowered mob of little dudes. With a squiggle of the finger on the touchscreen, this gaggle of part-time heroes morphs into weapons, bridges, hang gliders and more, letting you fight off endless invaders that range from plate-armoured robot turtles to technologically advanced octopi. It's bursting with creativity and boisterous charm. But every superhero must learn to control his or her powers before they can be used for good, and Wonderful 101 does not make that easy. The Wonderful 101 is energetic, wild, colourful and silly, with a playful sense of humour and a story that's enjoyable despite the fact that it makes almost no sense whatsoever. Quite probably because of that, actually. Its characters are one-dimensional comic book stereotypes. Good guy Wonder Red, chubby French Wonder Green, sexy whip-wielding vixen Wonder Pink, and so on.
Sacré vert! A novice!
Their silly accents and competitive banter strike a kid-friendly tone, but the fearsome difficulty and occasional off-colour jokes suggest that it has older players in mind. Battles are so chaotic that it can be difficult to even see what's going on at first. My eye gradually adapted to the visual cacophony, but there were still occasional times where I was hit by something I couldn't see, or where I'd lose track of my hero in the madness. Wonderful 101's 25-odd levels are 2 parts brawling with the occasional situational puzzle thrown in, and 1 part incredible boss battles, which were definitely the highlight for me. They're genre-bending and visually spectacular, they go on for up to 20 minutes, and you never really know what to expect from them. Though the way the gamepad is used in puzzles is sometimes brilliant, like when you're flying a spaceship on the TV from a cockpit displayed in your hands, it's not as well suited in general combat. Whilst drawing simple circles, triangles and L shapes on the gamepad screen isn't a problem, once you start getting into hammers, curvy whips, bombs and Z shapes, the game frequently mistook one for the other however carefully I drew. It still works about 75% of the time, but that's just not good enough in an action game as fast-paced and challenging as this. The control shortcomings are most evident in the frequent clashes with your doppelganger. Where he can switch weapons and unleash super combos in milliseconds, the controls meant that I never could. In combination with the Wonderful 101's reluctance to actually explain its systems, like where to buy, equip and use custom upgrades that make things easier, this creates a frustration loop that's very difficult to break, and often made me want to hurl the gamepad through the screen. If you've played one of developer Platinum's games before, then the Wonderful 101's refusal to explain itself won't be unexpected, but it creates an extremely tough learning curve. It's difficult to read the occasional tutorial messages whilst also keeping an eye on the action, and crucial moves like dodge and counter have to be bought from the shop, which makes the early game a strenuous experience. As things progress though, you build up an impressive selection of abilities alongside a working understanding of the combat. After that, the Wonderful 101 matures into a fulsome and satisfying action game with considerable depth to complement its increasingly wild ideas. For me, the initial few hours of my first 14-hour playthrough were painful, but by the 4th operation I was really enjoying myself. But the enduring problem is that even when you know exactly what you're doing, the controls will still sometimes let you down. The levels are designed for multiple playthroughs, and it grades you strictly on your performance, but the combination of demanding, precise combat and imperfect controls was frustrating enough that I didn't want to go back. A lot of the fun in Platinum's previous games comes from mastering them, but the Wonderful 101 lacks that appeal. The Wonderful 101 is both a showcase for the amazing potential of the Wii U's gamepad and for its pitfalls. It's amazingly inventive and full of colour and bright-eyed character, but its imperfections are unignorable. Unreliable controls don't ruin what is otherwise a clever and adventurous action game, but they sometimes keep the Wonderful 101 from being as truly wonderful as it might have been. For everything else on Wonderful 101, keep it with us on IGN.